this incredible milestone. And I just want to bless everybody that you should just be blessed with health and revealed goodness and kindness in all the corners of your lives, Baruchnius, spiritually and materially, and with all your families. And we should all dance together to greet Mashiach. That's really the main thing. And I learned that the day of one's birthday is God telling you that that the world can't exist without you. So, okay, L'chaim. I just told Judy that I did have a bottle of wine that I prepared and put it on my kitchen table and wrapped it all up, and there it is. I was gonna say, that's what happens when you're 70, right? Baruch Hashem, I just thank God. I feel very, very, very blessed. And Batya Chana, she had a birthday recently and she expressed it so beautifully, and she has such a beautiful way of expressing, but I also feel that way. So so this week in Parsha Shmos, we have in the fifth Aliyah on Thursday, in the verse 13, after Hashem has repeatedly asked Moshe to return to Mitzrayim and lead the Jewish people out of their captivity. So Moshe finally says to him, Yomer bi Adoni, shalachna b'yad tishlach. So Moshe said to Hashem, please, O Lord, send now whom you would usually send. And what is the Midrash says about this verse, that Moshe said before Hashem, that please send by the hand of Mashiach, who will be the future Redeemer, which means to say that really Moshe was asking Hashem to make this Geula, this redemption, it. Like there shouldn't be another one after. That's what he was really saying. But unfortunately, we see that this request was not granted. And because it was he, specifically Moshe Rabbeinu, that Hashem wanted to be the redeemer of Am Yisrael from Mitzrayim. So it can be referred from this Midrash that there is a special connection between Moshe Rabbeinu and Mashiach. And that it was because of this that Moshe wanted Mashiach himself to be sent to Mitzrayim. But nevertheless, the redemption of Mitzrayim had to be done by Moshe, and the mission of Mashiach is for the future redemption that should be in Meretz Hashem very soon. So we have, but there was a similarity, right, in both of their missions, because Moshe was the first, and he will be the last redeemer. But what does that mean? It does not mean that Moshe in his person himself is going to be Mashiach, because Moshe was from the tribe of Levi, and Mashiach will be a descendant of David, and he will be from the tribe of Yehuda. But what it does mean is that the power, the redemptive power that Mashiach will have comes from the redemptive power of Moshe. So they're connected in that way. And the reason is that the first and major virtue of Mashiach will be Torah, according to the Rambam when he speaks about the characteristics of Mashiach in Hilchos Malachim. So Mashiach is totally steeped in Torah. And this is where his redemptive strength comes from. And that's why the Torah is called Torah Moshe, right? The Torah of Moshe. So and what does it say about Mashiach? That Mashiach will be brought by an attribute, character trait of oneness. And this oneness, to reveal the oneness of Hashem in the world, that's brought to him through Moshe Rabbeinu. So how do we understand this? So the sages teach us that when the world was created, everything was in a state of perfection. But after the sin of the Eitz Hadas, when the Nachash infected Chava with impurity, and so man and the world fell from perfection until Har Sinai, until the giving of the Torah. And then at Har Sinai, so the impurity departed, but not completely, like it was still there in potential. Therefore, then it was able, had the ability to return with the sin of the Chet HaEgel of the golden calf. And unfortunately, it remains in the world with us now until the Mashiach, when the promise will be fulfilled to remove and utterly destroy the impurity, and the world will be ultimately purified and cleansed. So we learned that in Torah, there's a general principle that every descent, every fall is really for the sake of an ascent, a subsequent ascent that is actually higher than the state before the fall. So what that means, that at the giving of the Torah, that was on such a high state, was higher than what was preceded, even when the world was created before the sin of the Chet of Egel, even before the sin of Chava. So then that means, by implication, then the times of Mashiach, the Messianic age, will be even superior to the time of the giving of the Torah. So we know that before the Torah was given, all the Avos, they kept the whole Torah, and this actually was a very special thing that gave strength for the Jewish people to be able to fulfill the Torah and the commandments. But even so, even more so, there was something incredible and unique that happened at the time of the giving of the Torah that didn't exist at all. And that was in the relationship between Hashem and the Jewish people. Because what was it? It was the chosenness that Hashem chose us. That he chose us. So that it created just an incredible, unique revelation of Hashem's essential essence to us. So that's something, that revelation is something that had never ever been in the world before. So and it was very internal and very intense. And so therefore, even though then the potential they had when they committed the sin of the Het Egel of the golden calf, nevertheless, because they still had this some spiritual positive effects of the giving of the Torah, then it wasn't as great as before the giving of the Torah. So so in that sense, in the same way, the elevation that will occur in the world when Mashiach comes, when Mashiach will teach his Torah to all Am Yisrael, that will be even greater than the revelation of the giving of the Torah in two ways. Which two ways? That in the divine revelation, because even though at Sinai it was so intense that they could see it with their physical senses, right? But it was only like what will be the revelation that will be in Mashiach's time, when the true, entire, complete glory of Hashem will be revealed, and his name will be one, and like it says every day in davening, Hashem Echad, Shmo Echad, he'll be one, his name will be one, but he's always one. But it means that it will be totally, completely revealed for us to actually completely see and experience. And then, so that's one level in one way. And the other way that it will be different is in the elevation of Am Yisrael. So whereas in Sinai, the spirit of impurity did depart, but as we said, it remained a potential, reappeared with the head of the Etzadas. But in the time of Mashiach, it will be destroyed and consumed forever. And so the whole essential nature of the world will be changed, not only temporarily coming from above, but inside, completely and inside. So what does this mean? That because we just learned that we said that every elevation is preceded by a fall, a descent. So what does that mean? It means that that fall, that descent was really actually a necessary part to create the ascent. So, and we said, as long as this descent exists and persists, as we can see, which happened to the Jewish people, all of the sufferings and the slaveries that we're learning about this week and next week, in Mitzrayim. So, but all this service that they had to do, all this suffering and everything that the Jewish people went through in Mitzrayim, this allowed them to reach the level where they could then be given the Torah on Har Sinai. And so it is also in the same way in our extended, unbelievably long, incredible exile that we're in now, but this is what brings our Mashiach to the whole essence of the world. And what do we say about the world in Mashiach times is that the oneness will be completely revealed. So how do we see this? What does that mean? We can see this. First of all, it's very hard to understand this because world comes from the word olam, which comes from the word helim, right? Which means concealment. So how does it work? So we can really see this from the word echad in Shema Yisrael. So the word echad, how is it spelled? It's spelled aleph, chet, and dalet, right? So what does this mean? So the numerical values of these letters of echad, 1, aleph 1, chet is 8, and dalet is 4. So what do they symbolize? So the 8, the chet, symbolizes the 7 heavens, the spirit, this world and the spiritual world, and the earth. And the 4 is in all the 4 directions. And all of these worlds are physical world and also all the spiritual worlds. Where do they come from? They come from the one, the echad, the aluf, the master and source of the whole entire, everything in the universe. So what does that mean? What is that telling us? That it's not, echad is not just a spiritual revelation, not just a spiritual perception, but it can permeate our whole world view of the whole entire physical world, and to realize it. And that's really what, our part of what our avoda is to work on ourselves, to train ourselves, to have more of awareness of the reality of Hashem's oneness in the world, in everything, in this table, in all of our physical reality, to train ourselves. It's not so easy, but it's definitely possible. So and so that's the reason why the Torah was given, to be able to allow us to make this world a dwelling for God in the world, not out there, but really within our world, to have the Torah and to have the mitzvot. And so we know that the moment that the Torah was given, the whole world was entirely nullified in the face of this revelation. And we know even the birds didn't sing and the earth was silent, but all of this came from above to us. It wasn't within us. Nevertheless, it gave the world a power to be able to refine itself and become a vessel for then to receive a higher revelation. So then we can understand how Mashiach will be brought by our service in this world, which makes oneness manifest. And the power to be able to do this was given through Moshe Rabbeinu. So, but there's a difference between Moshe and Mashiach, because the redemption, the exile to, and the liberation, the redemption from Egypt was for the sake of the giving of the Torah, right? That we should serve Hashem, and this was to give Israel the power to purify themselves and the world. But the task of Mashiach is to complete it. So then there will be no more impurity, and the oneness will be totally revealed. So what does this say to us in our own personal daily life? How do we see this spiritual dynamic played out in our life? So we know that we get up in the morning and we start our day and we do our life and our activities, everything that we do. And then at night we go to sleep and we give our soul back to Hashem. So in the morning when we start our day, how do we start it? We start it with tefillah. We start it with Torah, and starting with tefillah actually gives us the strength for our divine soul to permeate our whole entire being through the tefillah, and also to give us the power to fight our evil inclination, to keep us in the right path. And then we go into the practical world to reveal the oneness in all of our activities, to reveal Hashem in everything that we do in the physical world. And this is like bringing the oneness to the Chet and the Dalet of the Echad, so that all actually comes as a revelation of Hashem. And so, and in this way, that oneness of Hashem permeates our whole action. And then when our day is over, so then we make the spiritual reckoning of what we did in the day, and then we rededicate ourselves to Hashem, and we give our soul back to Hashem. And Hashem, who is Hashem? It's truth. It's the oneness. Even the word truth, Emet, Aleph, Mem, Tet. It's each of the three letters for the alphabet, the first, the middle, and the end. Sorry. We go to sleep and we give ourselves back to Hashem at that time when we go to sleep. But when we do that, it's like we're saying that we're trusting in Hashem and reminding us that Hashem is the one who said that He is the first and He is the last, and besides Him there is no other, and there is no reality which does not come from Hashem. And so just as the Torah was given to the hand of Moshe Rabbeinu, and it gives the world the power to bring Mashiach. So the same thing in our own individual lives, that this gives us the power to refine our own individual lives, our character traits and our life and our activities, and to make them really truly a dwelling place for Hashem. And through that, that's really how we bring Mashiach. And it should be now, and should be with Rachamim and Chesed, with Chesed and kindness and mercy, and for all of us together, we should all be together and greet Mashiach in Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi.
Amen. Amen.
And thank you very much, Judy, for letting me go over. My birthday present.
Yes, exactly right. Okay. So, pretty good for 70, actually. Look at that chin. Okay. Okay, so we're continuing our study of the Malacha of Boneh. Okay, we've been talking about this idea of Mosif al Binyan and all the things that entails. And very often we're talking about repair. So today we're talking about what to do with a broken window on Shabbos. Okay, so first of all, the pieces of glass that fall on the floor, they're muksa. So you really can't touch them unless it presents some kind of a danger. You know, you've got a 2-year-old wandering around your house. You know, you've got to get it up. But one should try and like use a kaf. What's it called? A ya'eh and a dustpan. Thank you very much. And try not to touch it if that's at all possible. But what to do with the window frame? So first of all, to take out the glass would be the malacha of soter, okay, which means to deconstruct. Okay, we know that there's a few times that all malachos are creative; they're not destructive. So it becomes the malacha of soter when you're doing an act that appears to be demolition, but for the purpose of repair. So before you put it in the window, what do you have to do? You have to take out the glass. I just want to mention, by the way, that we've been doing this about, I guess, 8 years, maybe 9 years, I don't know. So this is our 37th malacha that we've learned. So we have left, we've like pretty much finished the whole. Okay, so now really everybody should keep Shabbos very well. So this is the 37th. Soter is the 38th, and the 39th, saving for the last. I don't know, it's a little hard. It's carrying. Let's make a party. How many times does that word, how many times have those words come out of your mouth? You know, it's really, how many times have you said that in your life? Let's say 4,786 times. Let's make a party. Okay. Oh, a Shabbos party. Okay. Today is a party. Today is a party. Okay, so if the shards of glass remain in the frame, okay, so you can't, like, you know, nice and neatly. If you must, again, you have this kid or it's dangerous or the cat's going in and out, whatever. Yeah, you know, you have to. I don't know if that counts, but you have to take it out with a shinoy, like kick it out. You know, when I read that, I thought, like, here's somebody's husband, you know, going to the hospital with stitches because he made a bad kick. But okay, I mean, but the preferable is to like take towels and pillows and to like kind of stuff it in the cracks and try and close it up that way. What you cannot do is to take you can take also like a sheet or a towel, put it over. Okay, what you can't do is take a piece of plexiglass or a piece of plastic or a piece of wood and put it over, fit it into the frame. That is exactly Mosif al Binyan, even though it's temporary. You know, can you hang a towel? You can hang a towel. You can hang a towel. You can hang a blanket. You can put your nightie. You know, whatever.
Put it not inside, but over the window and frame.
A board. You're talking about
plastic or.
No, anything that's like solid, like that, like looks like building material, which by the way is probably muksa. You can't use. You can only use like something that obviously you wouldn't use, you know, wouldn't be in any way construed as some kind of construction. Nobody's building a house with a towel, I think. Okay. All right. So that's broken windows. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, wall hangings and window attachments. So here there's, you know, quite a bit of disagreement between the all the poskim, all different levels. So you know, it's when you hang it, right? Like it appears to be like you're hanging it, but because it's like kind of flowy and it's not attached at the bottom, and so there are poskim who say that yes, you can hang up some kind of a wall hanging or window covering. What you cannot do is you can't do it for the first time. Okay, if it's never been hung before, can't hang it. If it involves putting the clips or the nails or the whatever it is back in, you can't do it. So I mean this applies to so curtains, window shades. They can be according to some poskim, you can put it back as long as it doesn't involve any brackets. Same thing like wall tapestry, something that's hanging on a nail. It's preferable if you can, go find a guy. It's preferable if you can find somebody else, a non-Jewish person to do it. That would be preferable, or you can just like leave it there. And in any case, many posts consider it to be muksa, so you can't really deal with it anyways. This is Rab Ribead. He makes this point over and over again. You know, because there are you know, opinions in one way and there's opinions in the other way. You know, we try to not ignore the opinion of anybody. Hey, you know, we try to you know, try and do all of the shitos. If this one says you can, this one says you can't. So we try not to go against any particular shita. That's an idea of I mean, there are some people who say like the idea of muhudur on a esrog means that you're observing as many shitos as you possibly can. Not just to beautify it, but that's a way of beautifying it. You're beautifying the law. So I mean, it's just a general guide. In you know, if you have a major reason why not to, I suppose, you know, you could. But if you have no reason, you don't have to have this, you know, curtain hanging, then it's preferable not to do it. Okay, and that's it. That's all. Questions?
Did I miss something when you said you can't hang the towel? But doesn't it look like from outside that I did the laundry or something?
No, nobody hangs their laundry on a window. I don't know. I don't think that's a concern. I mean, it's one towel.